In 1932, with the Bears and Spartans tied for the best win percentage, both were named NFL champions. No, wait, you can't have two champions. Right. In December 1932, the Portsmouth Spartans, now the Detroit Lions, and the Chicago Bears finished the regular season tied. The thing is, the playoffs did not exist. The team with the best win percentage, which was wins divided by losses, was the champion. Games were much lower scoring back then, so ties were common. So the system meant if a team won one game, lost 0, and tied 9, they'd have a better win percentage than a team that went 9-1. The chances, of course, were low, and although people saw the flaw with the system, they accepted it. There were some odd victories, however. In 1928, the Providence Steamrollers went 8-1-2 and were champions, but they played 5 less games than the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets, who went 11-3-2. The Bears and Spartans actually played each other twice in the regular season, and both games ended in ties. There was a rule that if each team won one game, the winner of the second game would be the champion. However, both games were tied, so the rule didn't help. So the first playoff game would be held instead. But technically, it wasn't a playoff game. It was a regular season tiebreaker that counted in the standings. So whoever lost this game would fall to third, behind the Packers. Totally bizarre. And speaking of the Packers, they actually had a chance to win it all, but they lost their last 2 games to the Spartans and the Bears. The Great Depression was in full effect, and the NFL was not immune to the pain. The league had fell to 8 teams from 22 in 1926. The game was to be held in Chicago during the winter time, but with an incoming snowstorm, rather than risking frostbite, the game was moved indoors. They wanted fans to actually show up to the game, right? This was a hockey stadium though. It could only fit an 80-yard field, not the standard 120. That meant some modifications were required. Firstly, the stadium kept a supply of dirt and would reuse it to save money. Over time, stuff began to accumulate, like sticks, cigar butts, and elephant waste. Yes, the stadium had been used by a circus the night before, and there was a strong aroma of elephant manure. At least one player got sick from the stench, so you could say not ideal playing conditions. The field was also narrower, so this gave birth to the use of hash marks in the NFL. The ball would be moved back towards the center of the field if a player went out of bounds or was tackled within 10 yards of the sideline. Back then, the ball was placed where it ended up on the previous play, so there were times where the center lined up on the sideline with the rest of the team lined up to one side of him. Aside from the bizarre setup, the Spartans would be further handicapped when their future Hall of Fame quarterback, Earl Clark, was not able to play because he couldn't get time off work. He was also a basketball coach at Colorado College, and the school denied his request for leave as the game wasn't originally scheduled. The Spartans would press on though, but the short field made passing difficult. There were 8 interceptions on the day and 5 completed passes. Bears player John Doling's first pass flew into the stands. Field goals were also not allowed. So to the game. It was low scoring, no surprise. The first touchdown came in the fourth quarter. An intercepted pass by the Bears was returned to the Spartans' 7-yard line. Red Grange had set out until the fourth quarter after being knocked out in the first, but he was called back to secure the W for the Bears. After a few plays, it was 4th and 2. The ball was handed off to Bronco Nagurski, who after seeing a wall of defenders, took a couple steps back and passed it to Red Grange. The Spartans head coach was enraged, claiming he was not 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage when he passed, which was the rule at the time. But believe it or not, in 1932, there was no instant replay, so the play stood. However, they would change the rules the next season to allow the ball to be thrown from anywhere behind the line of scrimmage. The Bears would get another 2 points when the Spartans fumbled the ball out of their end zone, so the Bears won 9-0. Despite the lackluster, bizarre game, history was made, as several key rule changes were introduced. Up until 1932, the NFL used the same rules as college football, but from 1933, the league introduced its own set of rules. One was moving the ball 10 yards in from the sideline after going out of bounds, as well as removing the penalty of losing a down if you went out of bounds. Goalposts were moved to the back of the end zone for a few years. That changed a couple more times, and as mentioned, you could now throw from anywhere behind the line of scrimmage. And most significantly, from 1933, the NFL would be divided into 2 divisions, and there would be a championship game to determine the winner, the prelude to the Super Bowl. Alright, thanks for watching.